Hello, Booktube. This is Alan. Welcome to my channel. New video here. The first time on Booktube. So I'm gonna do the Booktube Newbie Tag. Question number one: why did you start this channel? Well, Jason over Byways and Booklands has encouraged me to start this channel, as did Steve Donahue and Mark Richardson of Richardson Reads. Encouraged me to start this channel. Also, I've been watching YouTube for the past 25 years, but in the past six or 8 years, I've only saw the images. And when I saw the images, most of them were like YA novels, YA books, fantasy. Well, I was interested in YA fantasy. Shadowhunters by Cassandra Clare was my favorite series, but the rest of them, Sarah J. Maas is horrible. Josh Green, I read one of his books, Fault in Our Stars, is basically a premiere of existentialism. Question number two: what are fun and unique things are you going to bring to this channel? I'm sorry, but current occupant of the White House has vetoed fun and unique things. Question number three: what are you most excited about for this new channel? Excited? Excited? Really? No idea. Well, it helps a little bit. Let me clarify this. It helps a little bit when the person that is doing the channel and you're commenting and you say, oh, I have this book and this book and this book, but you never show the books. And also it's like, well, it took me 8 years to finally get my picture uploaded on YouTube. So there. Question number four. You know, it's interesting. I was wondering about ancient Rome when they had the Roman numerals. That if you go, you're in a market in ancient Rome, and you go up to this boy and you ask him, well, how old are you? Instead of going like this, they would go like this. IV. Just a thought. Why do you love reading? This is going to take a while, because a lot of questions revolve around what book did you like read growing up? And, well, I didn't read when I was younger, because the books didn't have any pictures in them. You see, back in elementary school, they had taught us how to read by these books of Dick, Jane, and the dog Spot. And they said, well, word pictures are good to teach children how to read. Word association type. Picture word association type. And so they taught us how to read. That's why I said, well, why don't you read this book? I don't have any pictures in it. I don't like it. So when it came to take tests in school, for the Iowa Basic Skills Test, they would ask you questions like, have a sentence on there and said, you had to guess which word was the noun in the sentence. And then it would have, A, B, C, D. And you had to guess, I didn't know. And the questions went on like that. And it was Iowa Basic Skills Test, and one of the reasons I don't like Iowa. Another reason is that when it came to writing a complete sentence, the teacher always handed me my paper back to me after she graded in a red pen. And I can stand red pens today because of that. So she put down a run-on sentence. And I was thinking, well, what if it was walking? Or she would put down dangling modifier. And see, this went on throughout junior high school, what they call middle school now. I went through high school, where I just got into real middle English class, and got to community college here in Dallas, one of the suburbs of Dallas. And I still didn't know what a noun was, what an adjective is, what a pronoun is, and how to write a complete paragraph. I didn't know. So I could either be like a millennium and say, oh, and gripe and groan and say, oh, it's the environment I grew up in. Or I could say, oh, I need help with English. Why don't I go out and find help? And so I turned to the pastor of my church, and he handed me this book here, How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler. This is an excellent book, and I haven't seen this on YouTube at all. It's a classic guide to intelligent reading, as it says. And you have an activity and art of reading. You have the levels of reading, second level of reading, first level of reading. It has analytical reading, different kinds of reading matter. It tells you how to read history, how to read plays, how to read science and math, and coming to terms with the author and what's the author's message. Because a lot of times when I look on Goodreads, I have a Goodreads page, and I look at the reviews, and it's more, the reviews are certain books that I've read, like, well, what's it about? You never told me what the author is saying. For instance, the How to Kill a Mockingbird. I read that 2 years ago, and where a lot of people read in high school. But because I didn't know nouns, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, and the like, I didn't read it. So I read it 2 years ago, and I went up to my brother and said, so, have you read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee? And he would go, oh, yes, I did. So tell me, what's the book about? And he would say, oh, it's about this courtroom trial with this black guy who was falsely accused of raping a white woman. I said, oh, that's interesting. That only takes place, that's only 65 pages in the book. The book's 375 pages. What's the rest of the book about? They didn't know. Nobody knows. And you have to find out what the author is saying in the book in order to read it. And there was a thing on Instagram, where I have an Instagram page, it's alan.scribbler, and the author, and someone asked a question, do you read analytically or do you read emotionally? And the question, and I said I read analytically. And somebody got, well, I read emotionally. You know, O.J. Herringdale is is a hottie. He's my boyfriend. He's fictional. But he's still a hottie. Well, yeah, he is, but another book that a lady gave me at the same church. She used to be a teacher back in the day. Back in the day, I meant this book here, Friend Grammar. The book was copyrighted in 1929. You could tell by it's taped up and everything right here. Pages are falling apart. she gave me this, and it tells you how comprehensive adjectives, talks about different pronouns, persons, verbs, pictures of verbs, and it does have pictures in it, but the pictures make sense to what it's saying. Verbs: look, run, stand, and look, it has these prefixes. So those are two that help me a lot in learning English and also learning how to write. Because when I first moved into my apartment, a lady was moving out, one of the tenants moving out, and she had a futon for sale, which I bought from her, and she threw in her TV for free. So I sat there with the TV, turned it on, didn't work. And I didn't want to pay for cable. I didn't want to buy that box that you put on top of it. So I stuck the TV in the closet. And then I figured, well, what am I going to do now? I said, well, I'll just read and write stories. And that's basically what I did. I read and wrote stories. And I read Stephen King. I read 30 of his novels. 3/4 of them I didn't like, because he goes into too much detail of minor characters. Like, oh, come on. Like in Salem's Lot, he goes on and on and on and on and on about a diner and what people are eating. Like, who cares? Doesn't have anything to do with the story. Keep going. But that's Stephen King, get away with anything. But also, I came across a Stephen King novella, the Stand By Me, which was the hunt for the dead guy who got hit by a train. And I forgot the name of the novella he wrote. But it had 5 words in that novella, in which I was working overnight, and I was just thinking of those 5 words. And when I got home the next morning, I wrote down, started the story. It was the Troll Under the Bridge, and I wrote 140,000 word story. But that's that's the way I am. This is basically the way I write. If you can read that, this is by get like 400 words on a page. Someday I'll be worth something. I don't know. Let me switch over and see where I left off. Oh, what books got you into reading? Well, since I started late in the reading, I started reading, and I picked up 2 books, just a moment, please. And one of the books was this one, Thomas Harris, Black Sunday. This, of course, is a reprint, because the original cover would have the title, this title down here, Black Sunday, up here. Thomas Harris's name would be down here. But because Thomas Harris became famous because of the Hannibal Lecter character, they put the author's name up here. Usually in the first novel, the author's name would go down here, title will go up here. This book came out in 1975. There was a movie made about this book starring Robert Shaw and Bruce Stern. It's about international terrorists who decide to rent a blimp, Goodyear blimp, and blow up the Super Bowl. Which might not be a bad thing. I don't know. And then I read this one, James Herriot. This is his second one. This is All Creatures Great and Small was his first one. This is a sequel to it, All Things Bright and Beautiful. James Herriot, of course, wasn't his real name, but this is just his pen name. talked about his time in up in Yorkshire Dales in the veterinarian, and I got me wanting to be a veterinarian. So I looked at veterinarian and what it costs and what it would take, and well, I'm not good at math, not at all. I still haven't found out what X is equal to in life. You know, still haven't come across that. Not in the grocery store at all. But yeah, James Harriet, All Creatures Great and Small. This is the second one. All Things Bright, Beautiful. Excellent, excellent. And they said that the people who are good at math like mysteries and detective stories. Well, I read Sherlock Holmes and it's like, you're kidding. Really? And I got bored with it. It's like, seriously? Wait a minute. A lady goes in Sherlock Holmes' office and describes in detail what a person looks like. Who does that? Nobody does that. That's ridiculous. And also, they say that the people who are not good at math like history. So you know where I fall in. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I don't have any favorite booktubers. I just described to some of them. I really don't care. They're nice people. I'm glad they invited me to the community. Alan Morton and C. Donahue, Mark Richardson, and Jason over Byways and Booklands. You know, if you say his last name real fast, you wouldn't know if you're mispronouncing it or not. I even forgot what his last name was. Harrigan. Harrigan. So, thank you very much, Booktube, and we'll talk to you soon.